we're back to Last Week in AWS, the podcast. Hope you enjoyed the time off. AWS has released a few things. Let's dive into them and find out what they are. This episode is sponsored in part by my day job, the Duckbill Group. Do you have a horrifying AWS bill? That can mean a lot of things. Predicting what it's going to be, determining what it should be, negotiating your next long-term contract with AWS, or just figuring out why it increasingly resembles a phone number, but nobody seems to quite know why that is. To learn more, visit duckbillgroup.com. Remember, you can't duck the duckbill bill. And my CEO informs me that is absolutely not our slogan. Amazon DynamoDB now supports configurable point-in-time recovery periods, and this is just plain weird. The configured maximum recovery period doesn't impact the price you're charged for turning on PITR, so why does this feature exist? I can only assume it's to meet some data deletion compliance requirements for a very specific use case, but I don't know. I'm thrilled to be proven wrong. Please chime in if you know. AWS Compute Optimizer now expands idle and right-sizing recommendations for Amazon EC2 auto-scaling groups. And this is interesting. If you're running auto-scaling groups, Compute Optimizer, whose motto is, "We also optimize storage volumes because we don't name things good," can tell you when you should be using different instance types or when you should really consider scaling things down. I like this. Announcing the new AWS Asia Pacific Thailand region. Now that AP Southeast 7 exists, it's really starting to feel as if treating every region as its own isolated cloud environment is becoming completely untenable. The management overhead for some workloads is growing fierce. Something's got to give. I wonder what it's going to be. Here at the Duckbill Group, one of the things we do with, my day job is we help negotiate AWS contracts. We just recently crossed $5 billion of contract value negotiated. It solves for fun problems, such as how do you know that your contract that you have with AWS is the best deal you can get? How do you know you're not leaving money on the table? How do you know that you're not doing what I do on this podcast and on Twitter constantly and sticking your foot in your mouth? To learn more, come chat at duckbillgroup.com. Optionally, I will also do podcast voice when we talk about it. Again, that's duckbillgroup.com. Shaping the future of CDK together. Well, this is something new. It's not quite a foundation, but it has a steering council. This might be worth paying attention to. I've basically given up on the CDK just because its maintainability when you haven't been touching a workload for a while has just gotten terrible. But I could be convinced to go back. The benefits of an email-based AI virtual assistant on AWS. Using email as a secure medium is a section heading in this article, and it has me screaming. Yes, email can be made into that, but you have to go significantly out of your way in various usability impacting ways to get there, and virtually nobody does this. So referring to email as inherently secure is deeply misleading in ways that can get customers into serious trouble. And finally, securing a city-sized event. How Amazon integrates physical and logical security at reInvent. The physical logistics of something like reInvent will never cease to amaze me. It's a modern marvel. And that, blessedly, is all that happened in the last few weeks in AWS. Please stay tuned. It's 2025 now.
This has been a Humble Pod production. Stay humble.